good start with your spiritual thought. I like that because I wanted to talk about some of my experiences where I use what is a positive philosophy, a positive lifestyle, to support a negative life. And it really worked. As most of you know, I had an alcohol issue, and I found that treatment worked just perfectly. There was a lot of things that happened. I can remember walking drunk through a gang one time and not being touched. They all just parted respectfully and let me through, and nothing happened. Things like that were happening all the time, being able to get home safely drunk, park safely, get in the house safely. All of the things using treatment. And treatment works. And it works however we believe it's going to work. But are we always living it in a healthy way? In the most positive way to have a life we really enjoy? I look back on that life, and if I never see it again, it'll be too soon. But it served its purpose. I got a lot of wisdom out of it. But I did learn how easy it is to use something that we would consider healthy and good and part of our wealth consciousness in a really negative way. I had a friend who was, she was a practitioner down at PLC in Fresno, and she had been an alcoholic. And she had done the same thing, and it was really interesting how easy it is to stay in an addiction when you use something like this that really works, because it keeps you safe. It keeps you hidden. It makes it work for you. So you don't have to face that life is crumbling as fast as somebody else's is, because the treatments are working. The meditation works, prayer works. The positive thinking is not that the world is great and I'm happy. It's more like, okay, I'm drunk and I'm going to get home safely. But it works. So we have to really look at how we're using things and how we're living it. So when we're looking at are we walking our talk in a healthy way? Are we walking it in the best way possible for each of us to support us in being the best person we can be, and being of service and contributing and making a difference? When Joanne talked about them talking about the negative things, and if you talk about it over and over and over, you're in a victim consciousness. And no matter how often you come to church, or how much treatment you do, or how much meditation you do, all of that is negated as soon as you start going the other way. Think of it as an average. If you've got 50 negative and 50 positive, you're going to have really a 0. You're not going to be really miserable, but you're not going to be really happy either. So we need to take looks at what's going on daily with us. Are we happy in our relationships? Are we happy with our partner, with our children? And if we're not, whose responsibility is it? It's ours. So what does that mean? What does that look like? That means that we have to step out of blaming. Nobody did it to us. We did it to ourselves. We made the choices that got us to those points. We all made the choices when the economy went on the dump. We all made the choices to use credit cards and to let banks get away with things. When you talk politics, we've all made the choices for who's in office. We've allowed things to happen. And that's what happens in victim consciousness. We just allow it all to be there and moan about it. And then we go to prayers that it's all going to be better. Or you talk to someone and they get you up and you've got a shot of feeling good, or you feel good after you leave here. But then you go home and you start reading the negative news and you focus on that. Or you get on the phone with your friends. Or you listen to your kids. I had a daughter up yesterday and it was a lot of negative. And I had to ask her, well, did anything good happen this week? Because it was focused on all the other. I knew she needed to talk to somebody who understood. But on the other hand, that can only go so far before you have to put it into perspective. If you choose to stay in the family that you're with, then you're choosing to accept what's happening. So being miserable isn't necessarily the answer that's the best for you. You got to change the perception. I chose it. I choose to be here with these people, or I choose to be in this job that I hate, but I chose it. So what do I do to not hate it? How do I learn to use what I know and the tools that I have and the philosophy that I have and the network and the support that I have to make it okay. So it's taking a good now moment look. It's a snapshot, like a screenshot. What's your life look like today? What did you feel like when you got up this morning? Did you fight with somebody last night? Are you hesitant about seeing somebody because you don't want to hear what's going on? Do you not want to go to work Monday because it's the same old and you're miserable? You've got choice. You're empowered. You can create the life you want, and here you get the tools. You can make the choices. You can live any way you want. But if you choose to continue in something that hasn't been working for you or supporting you, it behooves you to think about how you can change it so it's livable, whatever that's going to look like. Well, I choose to be here. I choose to stay with this person or whomever I've been with all these years, or I choose to stay in this job. Why am I staying here? Maybe it's financial security, maybe it's comfortable, maybe it's my belief system that says that I have to. Whatever the reason doesn't really matter. It's the knowing that you chose it, and that you had some reason that made the choosing of that okay. Then you step out and you start walking your talk and living your belief system, and start using your tools to create the best possible scenario, the best possible life within the parameters that you've set. You change your perception. Okay, so yesterday I was talking about how hateful it is. So maybe today I could say, well, I still don't like it, but I'm choosing to be here, so let me see what's good about it. So you don't go to right away, I'm absolutely in love with my job, or I'm absolutely in love with my situation. You're not going to believe that, and you're not going to manifest it. You start with the monster in the closet, whatever that is. It is this bad, but I chose it. You could choose it maybe because you're not finished healing and you want to punish yourself a little while longer. I did that one a whole lot. So you have to, there are all different ways to look at it. But the fact is, only you know. I fix up my little area so it's not cluttered, or it's pretty, or you've got flowers or bright lights. Maybe it's in your home and the relationship isn't good, so you make a room that's yours, so you have a safe place to go. Or you create a garden, or you create something that's your space to where you can get your balance and you can feel good. You see, you don't have to have what everybody else has. You can have what you've chosen. But how are you going to live with it? Are you going to be miserable every day? If I believed that this was the only life there was, and I was still back in my addiction days, what a waste. If this was the only time I had these few years, and that's all I'd done, I don't want to go somewhere and find that out. So in the middle of whatever you've chosen, find something that makes you feel good about being alive, whatever that is. Generally, it includes reaching out and sharing with someone, or interacting, or doing something, whatever that is. We have people that come in here and clean. Nobody ever sees them, but they do it and they feel good about it. Or volunteering. Everybody up here volunteers for something. Doesn't it make you feel good? When you worked on a project and they brought in what they needed to take care of whatever the issue was, or somebody needed something and you had it and you shared with them. Just a gift to the heart. Those things make you feel good no matter how bad your situation is. So you take those things and you build on it. These are your strengths. You build on that. Well, I'm still miserable, but I chose that, so what am I going to do today to make me happy? Maybe I'm going to go to the dollar store. I don't have much money, but I could spend $1 and get a flower or a scented candle or something that's just for me. You build on the little things. And you walk your talk, no matter what the situation is. You live your belief system, you live your life within whatever you've chosen for it. So when you look at your life this week and you see what isn't working, be honest with yourself. Yeah, I'm not ready to move on. I'm not ready. I've had people tell me I'm not ready to work that hard. That's okay. Just be honest with yourself about where you are about it. When you lie to yourself, that's when you get into trouble. But when you're honest about what it is, then you know that you always have the power to change it. You have the power to make it different. You have the power to change you within whatever it is. And when you change you and you start seeing the beauty, you'll find that it works. Pick those now moments. When you're driving to work to this miserable job and you're carring down to Fresno and it's going to take you an hour, don't spend that hour thinking of how miserable it is and how you dread going. Spend that hour looking for the wildflowers or the deer, or smiling, or watching the sunrise, or have music, or think of something so that you're focused on something more than the misery or the victim that you've been. You start making these little changes, and pretty soon you can find that whatever was going wrong in your life or what you didn't like starts to change because you have changed. And when you change, everything around you has to change. It can't stay the same. It's impossible because the formula, it's real basic. If A plus B equals C, and now you've got A to something power plus B equals C to something else, it's different. Now, puppy dogs.
He agrees.
I like a good audience. A responsive audience. That's why you like teachers in your audience. But to take the time to not judge yourself. We've judged ourselves till we're dead in the water. People have judged us. Our whole life has been a judgment. What kind of grades did you get? Did you get letters in sports? Did you succeed? Did you marry a doctor? You know, what are you going to be when you grow up? It's always something that you have to measure up or didn't measure down to or whatever it is. And it gets old. See, we don't need to do it to ourselves. It's been done enough. I find myself asking stuff. My mom's not here anymore, so I do it for her. God, that voice just came out. It scared me. But it's a reality check. We have the power.